day, viewers, and welcome to another edition of Universal Images. Now, today my guest is Miss Liz Goldsmith and her professional partner, Dave Stewart. So, welcome.
Hi, Rob.
And welcome, Dave.
Hi, Rob.
Before we get into more about Liz, let me just say that we've been off the air for a little while, and it's so nice for you to come back. And you know that we give you the interviews with the people who give you the tools to make up your own mind. Nobody dictates to you, or nobody steers you in a way that you don't want to go. You either look at the thing, the video, and you see it, and you think to yourself, yes, that's good. And at the end of the programme, you'll be able to know where to find Liz and Dave through their media pages. So let's start with you then, Liz. Tell me a bit about yourself.
Okay, I'm one half of Atlantis Chakra Crystals with Dave, ACC for short. And what we do is twofold. We offer teaching and training, whether that's Reiki, about crystals, such like, and we also offer a tarot awareness course. And we also do a stall quite often at your MBS.
You do.
And what we do sell is the tools to help people to go forward on their spiritual journey, such as gemstones, advice, and cards, and any little ephemera that will help them on their way.
Brilliant. Yeah. And I'm sure the viewers will be in contact with you afterwards here. So here, tell us a little bit about how you got into this. Shall we call it your spiritual path?
Okay, well, I think I found my spiritual path quite early as a teenager. It's quite interesting. I had the normal schooling where religious studies was about Christianity. And then I opted to do O-level, just giving my age away, religious studies. And I realised there was so much more out there. And I learnt about other spiritual paths. And then I got more of an interest in general esoteric values. And I became a vegetarian. And I found the books that I needed through just meeting friends. I'm not from Ipswich. I was in Newcastle upon Tyne at the time, but I have links with Ipswich. And when I came to Ipswich on a holiday, I met some friends, went round their house, and they had some very interesting books that I hadn't seen before. And I started reading them, bought them for myself. And then I realised, yep, this is me. From feeling a bit of an oddball, not quite fitting in with other people's thoughts, feelings and values.
I can relate to that.
Yeah. Then I found there were other people out there with similar interests. Not only that, there were resources. At the time it was books, specialist books, and there was such a thing as book clubs in those days.
Yeah.
Where you could choose a series of books to be sent to you on a monthly basis. And so I built up my book collection. I then moved to Ipswich, and then it was quite difficult to find similar-minded people here. There were very few shops. There was a purple shop that's been here forever. There was a little shop, I think it was called Shop or something, just off Eagle Street at the time, where I started to get more resources. And then I started to go to MBS, Mind, Body, Spirit fairs. And I'd always had an interest in tarot. Now, at first I was scared of it because some of the pictures in there, like the devil card, the death card, they can seem quite scary. But again, once I researched them and realised that didn't naturally mean physical death or the devil was going to come and visit you, and they were quite positive cards, then I realised how much was in there. And at first, because I couldn't read the cards, I wanted to, but I couldn't read them myself. I would go to the MBSs and I'd have my cards read for me. I thought it was amazing how it always told me what I needed to know at that time. So I worked really hard on learning what the tarot cards meant. And then I discovered that I had several tarot packs. I found the right one for me, which was the Rider-Waite pack, which is the one we now use in our teaching course, and one of the packs we use when we do readings for people. Of course, a long time down, just over 6 years ago, I met Dave, and that rekindled me on the spiritual path. I was interested, I think I was more of a hedge witch at the time, just all on my own, no one to work with. And then meeting Dave was fabulous. We both had lots of interests in common. Now, where we met was at a rock gig. You may have heard of Saxon.
Oh yeah, I know Saxon, of course.
Yeah, we went to the Oliver Dawson Saxon gig, met, hit it off, realised we had so much in common, and he was a person that I could talk to quite freely without people looking at me in a strange way when I was talking about things like tarot cards and angels. Quite often other people, I tried to be open and they just treated me like I was a bit strange, a bit odd.
I know the feeling. I've always had that myself.
Exactly. And I think there's a lot of it's to do with ignorance.
I'm sure it is. When we talk about the tarot, you've got to look at the history of the tarot.
Yes.
It goes back for many, many, many years. It's a medieval situation whereby they class it with witches and warlocks and all that.
Yes.
But here, whatever lights your candle, I mean, a lot of things today people have recall in their memories, and it frightens them, as you quite often say. But I do believe that sometime, and I'm sure you do, within their lives, certain things spark their intuitive thoughts off, and off they go.
Absolutely.
And that's the way it is. Can I just bring you in here, Dave? Because you're sitting there so patiently. And I have to say that, how do you gel together work-wise?
We obviously, some things we both do, some things I only do, and some things Liz will only do. But like with tarot, we both work very similarly. I mean, Liz wrote our tarot course. I don't know how many hours she spent on it, but I must say it is really good, and people have said that. And whenever we do a reading, we put the people at ease in case they, like Liz was just touching on about the certain images on cards, they might be a bit concerned or alarmed that they've pulled out the devil card or whatever. And we put them at ease before we do the reading, the same as when we do with the course. And then it's understood, and then there's sort of none of that, you know, where they might feel apprehensive and things like that. But I mean, I do a lot of the Reiki. Liz can do Reiki as well. I've taught her as well to do Reiki, because I do the teaching side of that. And I mean, we both do things differently. It wouldn't be good for everybody to be the same, you know, but we do things differently. Liz can tune in on things in a different way to how I do it, you know, and we can get the same information.
You would say you'd rub off one another.
Yeah.
And that's the way business partners should be, whatever they're doing. But let me get back to the tarot now. I know you were talking about the tarot courses that you've just started, and briefly you've just been saying, and Dave was saying about you, Liz, making the course and working it in here. Do you find that sometimes the tarot cards can become intuitive and they're nothing more than a prop?
In what way?
Well, being mediums, which you are, you mediate between the partner and the cards and the world of spirit. Being a medium, do you feel that certain things come in to you that relate to the card but don't show it on the card?
Yes, I do. And it's really interesting because when we do a reading, if we don't know the person, all we want to know about them is their name, and we don't even look at them whilst we're doing the reading. Now, the reason for that is we don't want to be influenced by their expressions or micro-expressions. We just want to read what we see in the cards. And whilst we know the symbolism of the cards, then yes, as we're working through them, we'll tell people exactly what they mean. and then we'll go through what we feel, and we are getting that from the cards, because the cards are a reflection of them. They dealt the cards, they've got their energies in the cards, they put the cards out, and so it can be quite intimidating sometimes. We've just met someone, but we know so much about their life and what's going on, and that is purely from the cards telling us that story.
Yeah.
So we do go through and talk about the individual meanings, but if we get something, if we pick something up, we'll say, and I feel in your case that this is to do with such and such. And even now, it's amazing. We're still amazed sometimes at how accurate the cards are.
Absolutely.
It is like magic, and all we can say is it's a reflection of you. It's what you need to know right now.
But it was start the roots of the tarot go back so far, whereby people were so intuitive and had to be intuitive in their everyday lives. We live in a modern society today whereby we press a button and it happens. It never used to be like that. So therefore they had to be at their wits' end, as my mum would say. And, you know, whatever came, they went by their gut feelings, if you like.
Yeah.
And they worked through that here. And we can go right back to the medieval and the caveman times, if you like, whereby they had to go on their instinct to survive. And that's where the tarot comes in with that kind of thing here. Okay. So now we've got through the situation of where you started and how you go. And you've explained a little about what you're doing here. Okay. Let me ask you, if I can, to explain a bit more about your tarot courses and what you want to achieve from there.
I think what we want to achieve from our tarot courses, people are often interested, but again it's that ignorance. They've heard, people who use tarot cards, they're devil worshippers, etc. We want to put that right. We go into the history of Tarocchi as it was, how it's influenced our modern day playing cards, and then perhaps it doesn't seem so scary, and then we go through the images on the cards and all the symbolism in there. And once they see it isn't some part of satanic magic, people are really interested about how this works. By the end of day one, they can already do some basic readings with the minor arcana. And I think that hooks people in, people who are meant to go on and read the cards for others. And that's what we want. We want to spread this education about, it's not this scary thing, it's no scarier than a crystal ball or a medium standing on stage and doing it without it. It's just the tools to take you through the story.
Absolutely.
That you might not need, but I think it's comforting for people to see the story in pictures rather than you just come out with it. That can be quite scary for people, thinking, are they mind reading? How do they know about my life? And we say, well, it's just through the story of the cards. And quite often we do a reading for someone. I'll do the first reading and then Dave will do the reading. And most of the same cards come out, even though the pack has been shuffled. But of course, we move on. Even if it's just a few seconds in time, the first reading gives them information. They start to assimilate and think about their life, what they might need to change, the route they may go down. So that will lead to the next set of cards being slightly different, but they'll still have some of the major situations in there. And of course, we've all got free will.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
So we can tell people where they are now, what led to that, and some possible options, but it's up to them which option they follow, or even if they decide not to. And again, I'll talk about the devil card is about inertia and perhaps being so comfortable with the situation you've got, even though it's not right, you choose to stay in it.
Yes, I do understand that. It reminds me of a conversation I had a little while ago with a person who analyses dreams. She's well known, she's written loads and loads of books, she's quite famous all over the world, and she's very, the thing about it is that she will say that it's my interpretation,
Yes.
and the viewers will look at it today, and if I give you a scenario whereby, and this has actually come to me, and it does happen quite often, one person will read the cards and give them something, another person will read the cards and give them something, and rather than looking at both sides of the coin and finding a happy medium, if you like, excuse the pun, but they will dismiss one and take the other, you know. So I try to get away from that situation here, and that's why we've started this up really, not just for that scenario, but we started this up so people can have the tools and they can see that if they get one reading and they get another reading, maybe it's a case they've got it too close, or maybe it's a case of that the medium will pick up from the cards more than reading the cards, or the other way around, whatever that happens to be. You know. So by you explaining what you're doing now, yeah, our viewers will look at this and say, that makes sense, yes, that makes sense, I do understand. So
Yes, and the spread we use, we've developed. We teach the Celtic Cross in all of its variations because that's the most popular spread. We've developed one called the Crossroads spread, which gives this range of options for people to think about what's best for them, and ultimately choose to follow those paths or not.
absolutely, people have choice. We call it free will, but it's a choice. All life is a choice, no matter what the situation is. And sometimes it's hard to assimilate that choice, but looking at the physical characteristics of the person that we're talking about, maybe. But having said that, we all have a choice here, and it's so nice that we have different people. We can interview different people on this program to give people, the viewers, the listeners as well, because a lot of people just listen, that choice to make up their own mind and go forward. So thank you for that. What I really want to know more than anything else is not just your projects you have that you're going to move forward with in the future, but is there anything that will be an exclusive here at the moment that you have on your mind?
Yes, there are a few things we want to develop. Crystals are very popular at the moment, and I'm developing a course about crystals. Now, there are several out there are several on the internet, and they're all about crystals and healing, but they don't explain why. So I'm coming from it from a different angle, that I want to explain what crystals are, what makes them work, and how that helps to heal people, and then talk about what you can do with the healing of the crystals. So that's something really important to us and very popular at the moment, crystals. Something else we do that we've noticed not everyone does is protection. A lot of people don't think about what they're doing and what the cause is. A lot of people have heard about Ouija boards and the fact that you can bring in bad things from the Ouija boards. You can assimilate, especially us who are very sensitive people, we can assimilate a lot of bad energies, whether it's people walking around at the MBSs, which we know that most people aren't, they come for the right reason, or wherever we may be. It's important to ensure we protect ourselves spiritually. And that's something I'm going to come to one of your Friday evenings and talk about.
You are.
How to protect yourself magically, psychically, for any work you're doing, especially any magic work, to make sure that you only attract the energies you want to and not the bad energies. And you'll be surprised how many people aren't aware of this protection.
That's quite true. I have a different outlook on bad energies. as far as I'm concerned, and my research over many years is that there's no such thing as bad energies. There are energies that are indifferent to a positive energy, but bad energies are a lot to do with our lost souls, and we won't get into that. We'll go down there. But having said that, I know exactly where you're coming from and what you're saying here. And yes, Liz is going to speak, and so is Dave.
Yes.
At the centre, so that'll be good. So do come along for that there as well here. So now we've touched on exclusive things that are coming along here. Okay, let's come back to the tarot course that you're doing, because that's the most prominent thing that here at the moment, and this is your promotion that's coming along here. So let us know where we can get it, how much it is, how long it will take, what it will involve, and anything else that can further the cause.
Okay, well, it is quite an intensive course. It's over 2 days. Those days aren't consecutive. We have a few weeks in between. First of all, to assimilate what people have learnt on day one, and secondly, because we give them a small homework project. So the first day concentrates on the minor arcana, the history of the tarot, and the symbolism, and then they work towards doing some spreads. Now they can find out about it on our Facebook page, which is Atlantis Chakra Crystals, where all our contact details are, and you can also email us for information on Atlantis Chakra Crystals, all one word, @gmail.com. The course each day costs £60. The first day you will get a brand new pack of Rider-Waite cards to take away with you to use to make your own. And the second day, when you come back, we'll recap the first day of the Minor Arcana. Minor Arcana is the picture cards, like modern playing cards, and they're also called pip cards, the numbers 1 to 10. So you have your ace up to the 10, and then the court cards. There's 4 cards instead of 3 as you would have in a normal pack. So that's the first day. Second day is the Major Arcana. Now, these are the pictures that people are probably more aware of, like the Devil card, like the Death card, but there's lots of lovely cards, and we tell you the story of the Fool's journey, which takes him through self-actualization all the way to the world, and how he gets there through the pictures on the 22 Major Arcana cards. Then we meld them together with day 1, the Minor Arcana, and we work on that, and we do some more spreads. We do the Celtic Cross spreads and a few simple spreads as well. It's about 6 hours a day working through it.
With a lunch break.
Yes, with the lunch break. Yeah. And we're always there for support in between the 2 days and afterwards. And we also run a monthly tarot share. Once people have learned how to read the cards, they need to practice. Now they get fed up on practicing their partner, their cat, their goldfish. So it gives them an opportunity to come and practice on real people that perhaps don't know, before going out and doing it at perhaps an MBS or one of your Friday evenings. It gives them that confidence, and we are there to help and support them. And those monthly tarot shares, developing their skills. Now what we found is, after people have come on the 2-day course and come to the tarot share, they've found their own little unique way of reading. It's amazing. We've taught them how to do it, we've given them those tools, then they're developing it, they're using their intuition, they're making it theirs. And that is wonderful to see, like a fledgling bird going off and they read for us, and they're absolutely wonderful. And we support them by showing them new spreads and keeping it interesting.
Yeah. Brilliant.
The courses are going to be held in Ipswich as well, and if you contact us through the site, which Liz has given you the details of, then you'll then get the address if you want to come to it. Also, in addition to what Liz has said, we teach people how to look after their cards and how to store them, which is important. You don't just want to leave them lying around anywhere. And also we have lots of other different decks of cards, and you can see the different ones you can use, and then you'll then find what's meant for you, and things like that. So it's all sort of extra things, sort of, you know, thinking outside the box, if you like, and there's extra bits and pieces in there and things what we've gained knowledge of on our paths.
Yes, like we've incorporated Oracle and Angel cards as well.
I do the Oracle cards,
Yeah.
I do
You
the
do.
Angel cards as well. Yeah.
Yes, so
Well, I don't. If then people ask me to, I do that.
Yeah.
I do them in my sanctuary at home. What I was going to say, sorry to interrupt you, if you have, shall we say, newbies coming along and they
Yeah.
want to allow them to come to the centre, if you think they're good enough, and that'd be fine, as long as you let me know,
of course.
they can come along and they can try these things.
Yeah.
And have a look and see, you know, and we'll make a special, we won't make any, put them on a special thing, but we'll make a thing where we have two people come along for the first time,
That's
and we
right.
have our normal mediums that are here anyway. So just so they're not put out on a limb sort of way.
Oh, absolutely. And the last couple of times I've been to your Friday night awareness sessions, there've been some newbies and they've
Yeah.
come round and they've had a chat.
Yeah, yeah. That's the way I like to encourage. And we had a chat beforehand, and all my life I've been trying to encourage people to do different things. Because as far as I'm concerned, I'm no better than them, and they're no better than me. We are just the same. Just because I've been doing this and I've put myself in front to do this makes no difference. You know, I'm just the same as they are, and that's the way things are in life anyway. But the intuitive side, as we touched on before, in people's lives, it happens when it's supposed to happen. You know,
Yes.
if you try to push forward something, and ego is a big thing, as you know, you've heard people. Ego is a big thing, and you'll get knocked down faster than you can ever imagine if you carry on doing it. And there's so many people in a situation of, I will call spirit workers, okay? People will say spiritualist. I've never been a spiritualist in my life, but I'm a spirit worker, and the same as you are spirit workers. We work for a common cause, if you like, here. And let's face it, you don't need to worry about religion or anything like that. You'll go to the same place no matter what. So it doesn't really matter too much. If you can help yourself as you're going along to change your mind, especially from a negative to a positive, and let's face it, we live in a negative world, you know, if we can change ourselves, great, that is fun. So now we've touched on most of the things that we're thinking about here at the moment. So time is getting on, so I'm going to say if there's anything else you want to put on at the end so they can get hold of you, people can get hold of you, then do so now. If not, then we're going to have to wrap up until we meet again.
Okay, just something else about the Tarot Share. You don't have to be a reader to come along. You can come along and have a reading instead. Dip your toe in the water, see what it's all about. You can have readings from me, Dave, our newbies that we've taught, and just have a look at the cards and see how you feel about that. It's just getting that little bit of awareness. And I think you'll agree, Rob, that once people get a little bit of awareness of these spiritual and esoteric ways of being, that's when they start to develop it more.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I agree with all what you're saying, and I hope that listeners will do too, and the viewers do. So friends, this will go back on my Universal Energies pages later on, and do tune in and do see, and it will be on video on YouTube as well. So for now, I say thank you very much,
Thank
Liz,
you, Rob.
and thank you, Dave.
Thank you, Rob.